you check the children? Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Morgan.
And we are here to review another new release. This one is not in theaters though, this is a new Hulu release that Robert and I actually did a trailer reaction for, and when we watched the trailer, we were both really engaged by it. We were excited to watch the movie, and our friends over at Allied gave us access to a screener for 2024's Hold Your Breath, starring Sarah Paulson. And I managed to rope Morgan into watching this by showing her the trailer as well. And so we kind of had some high hopes going into it, and so we'll get into the review like we normally do. We'll talk about our overall thoughts, then the story, the acting, the effects, all that good stuff in turn. And my overall thoughts are this was a very well-made movie. The story was good, but it just wasn't quite as engaging as I was hoping it would be. It's not a long movie. It's only about an hour and 34 minutes with credits. So it's not a huge buy-in, but even at that length, it still felt like it dragged sometimes. But overall, really high-quality film. The cinematography, the acting, the effects, all of that was really impressive in my opinion. But yeah, just the story was just a little less so. So how about for you?
I agree. When it was finally over and then you clicked out of it and I saw how long it had been, I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way it was that long, because it felt definitely like it was over 2 hours. And I liked it. Like, honestly, I liked it, but I did find myself a few times going, don't overthink it. Don't, like, because there were some holes for me.
Okay.
And so there were definitely places where I was like, if I think about this too much, I'm not going to like this anymore. But overall, I did like it.
Okay, that's good. So getting into the story, the film is about Sarah Paulson's character and her two daughters. She's unfortunately lost a daughter, and it's 1933, so it seems like her husband may be like off to war or something like that. He's off doing something with a lot of the men.
I was going to say, that was never really fully...
Right.
I don't think it was war. I think it had something to do with work.
I don't know what exactly it was, but basically she lives on a very underdeveloped sort of homestead in what looks like the Southwest.
Well, it said Kansas. The
It
panhandle
did say
of Kansas.
Panhandle, Kansas. Okay, so there you go. Not Southwest, but Midwest. And so they live on this, farm by themselves, and they occasionally go into town and interact with people at the church and some of the other townsfolk that come in every now and again as well. And it's kind of everyone's business is everyone's business kind of thing. It's very small.
It's a small community.
Close-knit group, right.
Where they live kind of spread out, but they have normal congregation.
But for whatever reason, during, I mean, I don't know if it's intended to be all times during the year or just like this time of the year, but there are massive sandstorms on a very regular basis, and they can't keep all the dirt and dust and everything out of the houses. But with that, there's a book that the girls have that they like to read. It's like a little ghost stories book, and one of the stories is about the Gray Man, who apparently is a dark figure that you see in the dust, and it disappears and you can breathe him in, and then he forces you to do bad things. And so they play with that the whole movie, thinking, is this thing out there? Is it not out there? Is it just people going crazy? What's the situation?
Right.
And that's as much as I can say without spoiling anything. And again, it sounds very engaging, but when you get down to it, that's not a lot, apparently, to fill an hour and a half, because there were long stretches between developments in the plot. And it was just sort of experiencing things. But when the developments did happen, they were engaging developments. Like, it kept me off my guard a little bit, at least.
I felt like the pacing was, I don't want to say this, but kind of necessary.
Yeah.
Like it's I liked it, and I wanted to not like it, but I wanted to like it, and I didn't really like it, but I did like it. This is very confusing, but I did feel like the pacing was appropriate because of the way the story unfolds. But unfortunately, it just does feel like an eternity in certain places. But maybe it's supposed to feel that way. Maybe you're supposed to feel the...
Well, it's supposed to be tension building,
Right.
throughout, but unfortunately, a lot of the scenes weren't necessarily that tension filled, because you're just kind of waiting for things to happen. But when we get into the acting and stuff, I think a lot of the other aspects of the film are really strong.
Yes.
So I think the acting was phenomenal. I thought Sarah Paulson and all the other people in the town were really good. I thought her daughters were really good.
Oh, yeah. There
wasn't a bad apple in the bunch, honestly. I thought everyone acquitted themselves very well, and Sarah Paulson particularly really shined. Like, it's funny, there's kind of a lot of parallels between this film and Never Let Go, which is brand new in the theaters. We just put up my review of it a few days ago, because that's a mother and two kids in the woods by themselves dealing with things on the outside. And the question is, is she just crazy or not, kind of thing. So similar parallels,
Very similar
but
then, yes.
but yeah, it's the acting is great, and there's no lack for talent there.
No, not at all. It was, everybody was... There wasn't anybody that stuck out like, really? No, it was good.
Cinematography wise, I thought that was good too. It felt... They did a good job of making it feel as wide open of a space as this homestead is. It still felt very claustrophobic because of all the dust storms and being having to be contained within, and just everything bearing down on them when they are out there in the dust, and it's just crazy overbearing, and I don't know how they hear each other, or
yes.
exactly, how they even scream without getting mouthfuls of dust and stuff. But there are people that unfortunately do fall victim to that kind of thing. So the cinematography I thought was really good as well. And then what about the sound design and the score? How did you like those two aspects?
Remember a score?
Yeah, that happens sometimes with films, that the score is not pronounced enough.
Right,
yeah, to really
in so well, which is fine because it helps to, like, obviously I was so into the story that I wasn't like swept with which is in some movies a good thing, but in this one would take you out of it.
Yeah,
so
that's
obviously
fair.
the sound design was appropriate so that to keep you engaged and into what's happening,
and the wind howling and stuff like that. And
I did feel like there were a few places where the dust was a little bit CGI.
Well,
like, it's obviously CGI, but I'm just saying, like, it could have been a little smoother in a couple places. But
I'm not sure what the budget was, but
I
didn't run into that
that's a
issue. But
nitpick.
I tend to be pretty forgiving when it comes to CGI nowadays. Honestly, like, I just don't see all the flaws that everyone else is like apparently seeing, I guess. Or I just don't focus on it, like, I don't know. But effects wise, I thought, we kind of segued into it with the dust effects. There is a lot of effects during the dust storms. Obviously, they can't film these actors in the middle of dust storms, but I still felt like they did a good enough job to make it feel like they were out in the elements and stuff like that. So I didn't run into that issue. Like, did you run into it a lot, or just kind of a small portion?
There were just certain scenes with the dust, and it was like obvious that it was CGI, but it's also like obvious they're gonna use CGI. Like, how else are you gonna do that?
Yeah.
So there were just a few rough spots, but in general, there were lots of places where I couldn't tell that it was CGI. And I will say that the bodies were very well done.
Yeah.
Very well done. And
Yeah.
that's a lot coming from me.
Yeah, and you catch a glimpse of one of them in the trailer, so we're not, like, spoiling that there are bodies. So, but we won't say the circumstances by which we
Or how
come across
many or
them.
whatever. It's very well done. The corpse.
Yeah, when you see the effects,
Yeah.
it's effective.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, guys, that's as much as we really probably want to say about this without spoiling things. We covered basically everything without ruining anything for you. So it's going to be on Hulu. If you already have a Hulu or a Hulu Disney Plus subscription, you're going to be able to watch it very soon. We're supposed to hold this review until about a week from now, so you'll be seeing it then. But yeah. If you've got the service already, it's definitely worth checking out.
It's worth a watch,
think.
definitely.
It's an hour and a half, it's not that big of a buy-in. I'd be interested to see if we're alone in feeling like it feels longer than that. Some people may be like, no, it was the perfect length.
I definitely would be interested
You know,
to see
it might
what
very
people
well
say.
be that, but yeah, I don't know why it did, but it seemed to feel that way a little bit for both of us. So, but yeah, let us know what your thoughts are if you do watch the film in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do, and again, thank you to Allied for hooking us up with this screener. We do appreciate that
So much.
Until next time, you guys, I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Morgan.
And remember,
Stay
stay scared.
scared.